I was an 18-year-old senior in high school, living on a farm, rural, very rural area. You're alone a lot of the time, and that's just pretty much how it was growing up there. And my parents had left for Bismarck to see my cousin who's in the hospital. And my brother and sister had already moved off the farm, so I was home by myself with just me and my dog. And my chore for the day was to unload barley from a grain truck into our grain auger, into the grain bin, using the power takeoff shaft off the tractor. I was just standing there watching the grain come out of the truck into the hopper and into the grain bin. And I must have got too close to the shaft, and it grabbed my shirt tails because I didn't have them tucked in. And it started wrapping my shirt up, and I reached down to pull my shirt out, and then my arms got caught in my shirt and got wrapped in with this power shaft. The next thing I know, everything's just dark, and I'm just feeling fun. I open my eyes, and my dog is licking my face. And I'm laying on my left side, and I didn't know what was going on. I knew something was wrong because my right arm felt really weird. And I looked over my right arm to see what was wrong with it, and I couldn't see it, and I thought it was broken behind my back. And while I was looking at it, I was trying to push myself up with my left arm, and I wasn't moving. And I looked back to my left arm, and I could see where my left arm was ripped off from right below the shoulder. Then I looked back at my right arm, and I noticed the right arm was missing right below the shoulder. And then I knew that I had no arms at all. I had no clue that anything was wrong until I really looked at myself. I knew I had to get up and get to the house, and I couldn't lift myself up because I had no arms to do that with. And I eventually got myself to sit up, and then I just kind of bounced over to the tractor tire and put my back against the tire and pushed myself up that way, used the tire to support me. And I stood up and took a couple steps and looked at myself again and just screamed for a few seconds or a split second and looked at my dog and just calmed down right away. He just sat there looking at me with his head cocked to the side and his ears sticking up and just kind of telling me, you know, we're going to get to the house. And I just kept looking at him and kind of concentrated on him, and him and I walked up to the house together. I just got down on my knees and bit the doorknob with my mouth and turned it with my head to get the main door open. And once I was inside, I just stood there and looked down and realized how much I was still bleeding everywhere. The walls on both sides of the hallway were just covered in blood because when I walked down, I just had blood shooting out both sides of me. So I just kind of quickly went across the room to get to our office, where it was the only place we had a touch-tone phone. Knocked the phone off the hook with my nose, and I was trying to dial, at first using my nose, and I kept hitting the wrong numbers. So then I grabbed a pencil with my teeth, so it'd be easier to punch out the numbers. And then I done it that way and called my cousin. I never once thought about dialing the ambulance myself, I just thought about calling somebody else.